Hello again. Welcome to Drawing with Mr. Kane. Hope you're having a good day. I think today we're going to draw another picture. And first I'll start by drawing my lines for the edge of my picture. Now I wish I could draw straighter lines, but usually what you have to do is you have to look at this line right here, that's just the edge of your paper, and then you have to draw and try to keep it exactly the same way you do going that way, but I'm not very good at drawing straight lines. So in this picture, I think we're going to have up on a hill, and so we'll just, with our light blue pencil, we'll just make a little bit of a hill here, and this is another little hill way off in the distance. But we're going to put a tree right here, and we're not going to draw the whole tree. We're going to use, I'm taking my purple pencil. Trees aren't always brown. Most of them are gray. So it's going to go down into the ground right here with the roots. And this is how trees work. They go up and out, and where every little branch goes off, it looks like the letter Y. So if I take and first draw a branch that way, and I draw a branch this way, when I get to the end, I just draw, I can add little Y's. And always remember that a tree always gets thicker at the bottom. So I'm drawing in with my purple pencil right now, and then I'm actually going to switch to lots of other colors, and so that's going to give me all those lines in the trunk. And by drawing in all these with different colors in my tree, the trees have so many branches that it would be hard to draw each individual branch. It gets confusing. So if I draw them in with different colors, and then I don't have to pay a lot of attention to the branches. And so at this side of my tree, I'm putting in orange, because this will be the side where I have a sunset over here. So let's just put that sunset in there right now so you can see it. The brightest spot is on the horizon there. And I'm coming over that with orange. You know, the orange goes down into my yellow right here. And I try to keep this line a little bit straight. So orange, and then I'm using my pink. Now if you don't have pink, then of course you can always use your red and just do it really, really light. If you have pink, you might want to do it really, really hard. And the pink can go over the top of the orange too. And in the end, you might want to go back in and darken the whole thing. Sometimes I don't have a time to show you what it looks like when you go over it again and make it completely dark. Like down here, see, if I take my orange down here where I've had my yellow before and I go really lightly over it, see how that's a different feeling than when I pushed down hard right there? Now the whole point was I was putting a little bit of this color in my tree. And this is where I start figuring out how thick my branches are going to be. And I do that by putting in my shadow color. Branches always get thicker towards the bottom. So if it's thick right here, then it's thicker there than it is there, then I just have to go back in and make that one thicker. see how many letter Y shapes I have up there? And I can't see it, but I know that underneath the tree, the roots go down into the ground. So right as it hits the ground, I make it just like, see like it is right there. If I were to turn the tree upside down, that's what it looks like underground, almost the exact same copy. So I'm going across here with my blue sky, and it's starting to look a little dark, so maybe I want to go back in and use my light purple a little bit. So this is late in the day, and we want it to be late in the day because this is when there's going to be a person in our picture, and they're walking home with their dog. Now, way back here, where off in the distance, I'm going to put in another tree, and take your time drawing your trees. Just do it slow so you can draw those little tiny Ys, but don't make them, when they're off in the distance, don't make your trees too thick. If you make them too thick on the bottom, then you're going to have to grow it upward so that it looks like the right size. Now, I don't have to draw as many branches on a tree that's far away, because maybe it's because of my glasses I can't see very far away. But I think you just don't see as much when it's far away. You see the shapes and you get the feeling for the tree. And the other thing I want to worry about here is that I don't want all my trees to end at the same line, because they have to space themselves. And when I'm putting them in, I want to put their very bottoms in different places so it looks like a forest. And then as they go farther away, I want to make them smaller. Now, we all can't live out in the country where you can have scenery like this, where you can see trees far away and have a nice little hill. But here's my path right here. Should we have a man and his dog walking on it? So I'm gonna make it in brown because it's the color of the dirt. So as it comes to the tree here, walks under the tree, then I think as it comes towards me, it's gonna get thicker. And so my man and my dog are just going to be see how big the tree is? The man's going to be about that big on the tree. So first we just draw a little round circle for the head. We'll draw a little bigger stretched out circle. And then we'll have one leg a little bit forward, and we'll have one leg a little bit back. And maybe he's going to carry a walking stick. One hand down, and of course, like all dogs, they want to be in front so they can see what's going on. So just a little tiny ball for the head, and you can maybe try to put in 2 little ears and a little tail. So they're pretty far away. We don't want to take too much time putting them in the picture. We're doing what's called making a suggestion. Now, with my sky, even though I drawn my tree in there, I can just go right over the top of my tree with my blue pencil filling it in. Now you want to fill in this whole area up here, and we've talked before about clouds too, and if we have clouds, they're going to have this color in the shadow of the clouds. Maybe for this picture you just want to do blue all the way across. It's up to you. It's your picture. And you can kind of keep it lighter behind the tree and get a little bit darker over here. Now, right now it looks like he's walking in snow, right? Because, and maybe I'll add a little bit of green on the dirt. Kind of muddy this time of year. I went walking with my dog the other day, and I started walking up a hill, and I put my foot down and it slid backwards because there was a little bit of mud there. But I think we want to have this be more springtime, so we'll go with kind of a green, but you know that grass has always kind of got this time of year that you can see through it a little bit, so that we're going to put a little bit of brown out there. I just did a little bit along the top of the hill and maybe down in here. Because it's far away, maybe I want to make this area kind of like a light brown. And this sunlight's going to be a little bit on this part of the ground right there, and it's going to be a little bit on the top of this hill right here. I'm just going to fill that in real quick. And you have to decide if it's a little too bright, then you add a little bit of orange in there. But if I have light like that, then I have to have shadow. So away from where the sun is, each one of these trees has to have a little bit of line on it, and it'll flare out a little bit because of the branches. So darkest right next to the bottom, and it's a little bit rounded because of the hill. And right here, this tree, the shadow goes away from the sunlight. And if that has a shadow, then the dog has to have a shadow probably right underneath it. And the man has a little bit of shadow too underneath it. And remember, the shadow's always darkest right next to the edge. So you see how that makes a difference on the way that it feels? And then we're going to go back in here, and these little lines, every time we go over it, what we want to do is make them get a little bit bigger, and that way they feel more like they're grass, because as the grass comes towards you, you see, because I put the shadow in and I can go right over it with the top of the grass, my shadow stays there. And this side of the hill, I come back again with that shape. Now I'm going to start making this kind of go down, kind of the shape of the hill a little bit. And same with the shadow, I can go right over the top of where I put the light in there with my green, and the lightness color will stay on there. I don't want to get rid of this area here being kind of brown, because I want it to feel like it's off in the distance. This area here, I maybe want to blend it. And sometimes you can take your finger and just, after you put some color on there, you can rub it and just that gives you enough of a feeling of what you want it to be. So, and then we have this whole area here where you could just draw it in all green, but you could also, when it comes down closer to you, you could start putting in little flowers, or you could become very adventurous, and you could put a big tree right here. So what would that look like? That would take a lot more work. So it would really be whether or not you would want to take all that time. And so you might want to just finish off that bottom with green, or like I always say, if you don't like what happens down there, then you just change the shape of your picture. Remember, if you're drawing a tree right here, these little lines should come wavy because you're really close to the tree and you can see the bark on the tree. And one side is going to be darker than the other, and you're going to have to put a little bit of the quality of light in there. And what I like to think about is that if my tree is alive, it's going to have a little bit of green in it just to make it feel like it's alive. I don't want to go over the top of the man in the picture, so I want to kind of have that be a little picture right there, a little opening. I'm going to work at finishing my picture up, and I hope you're working at finishing your picture up too. And just think like a branch when you're drawing a branch. They're a little bit wavy sometimes. Sometimes they get a little bit nervous when you're drawing them. And like I did here, over here, if I've drawn my tree in before I do the background, I just go right over the top of the tree and then those colors will blend in. Thank you for joining me for another day.